Hey everyone, welcome back to another episode where I'm going to walk you through a great groundbreaking new feature that's going to take you from zero to hero at Lightspeed. It's an AI powered OpenShift assistant. It's an AI tool that actually understands Kubernetes. So, as always, let's start by defining the problem. Kubernetes, generally speaking, if we're honest, it's an incredibly powerful but incredibly complex platform. In the past, you had VMs, which were very straightforward. You spin up, you configure it, you're done. Whereas in the world of Kubernetes, you got pods, services, ingresses, network policies, RBACs, storage classes, and the list goes on. The learning curve is steep. You need to understand YAML, syntax, kubectl commands, troubleshooting techniques, and dozens of other resource types just to deploy a simple application. Which kind of makes you wonder, like, why is anyone using this? Well, that's because Kubernetes is evolving as a platform for platforms. It's getting easier to use, and they're releasing new versions every 3 to 4 months, which means that old APIs are getting deprecated, new features are arriving constantly, and best practices are evolving rapidly. So, what worked last year might be the wrong approach today. And as a solutions architect, I'm always getting questions like, why is my pod stuck in pending? How do I fix this networking issue? And so on and so forth. And honestly, some of my colleagues, they'll spend, who are very experienced engineers will spend hours searching the web to try to track down a particular issue. And, hey, there's rapidly evolving best practices, but they're often scattered across different sites and people have different opinions. You might get your traditional Stack Overflow has answers, but are they current? Does it apply to your specific Kubernetes or OpenShift environment? So you end up with like 47 different browser tabs open, and that's kind of annoying. So the solution here is to have an AI assistant inside your Kubernetes cluster. Because hey, vexing questions need fast answers. As I said, why is a pod stuck in pending, and how do I fix this networking issue, and what's the right way to handle persistent storage? The documentation, it's often scattered. You might be accidentally on the wrong version because you didn't notice that you're on this version of Kubernetes and not the latest because you used Google and Google linked to an old version of Kubernetes, and you're tired and you just didn't realize that, hey, I'm this version of Kubernetes is not the version that I'm on. So the answer is always it depends on the version of Cube that your platform is running today. So with that, let's do the demo and show you how that OpenShift Lightspeed can really change your life and help you get fast answers to the most vexing questions you can imagine. As always, I will post my instructions for using OpenShift Lightspeed on GitHub, and I'll see you over in the demo. Okay, so the first thing we need to do is install the OpenShift Lightspeed operator, which we can do through Operator Hub. Just click through all the defaults, nothing fancy. And then we need to pick a provider. In this case, I'm going to use OpenAI. So I need to create a secret with my API key. And then once that's applied, I need to create a custom resource. Pretty simple, only 17 lines there. And within about 2 minutes, I should be able to start using the OpenShift Lightspeed modal box. Yep, look at that. This is great. Now I can start asking it questions. I have this error here in the middle console that says node network interface down. I don't know what that means. It could be because I'm running single node OpenShift with 2 NICs, but I'm only using one interface. So let's take a look there. Let's ask Lightspeed, and look at that. I get a very quick response back along with some links to the documentation. That looks pretty good to me. I say, yeah, that's a pretty good response. So I've got another error here in the middle console about the default storage class degraded. I think that pertains to the fact that I'm not using a read-write many storage class, which I need to import live running VMs from VMware. So I can simply, let's ask the Lightspeed console what that means. And yep, yeah, I don't have a read write many access mode storage class for importing live VMs. Again, it's giving me a link to a documentation. So this is very, very helpful. And it's a benign error, no big deal. I'm not importing any VMs from VMware. So yeah, that was a good response. Now let's switch over to the developer perspective and see what it looks like from a non-Kube admin. I've got a sample Spring Boot Hello World app here. I'm new to Kubernetes, so I hear that I can have 3 copies of this application running for at any one time. I'd love to know more about that. I'm a little unclear how to do that, so let's ask Lightspeed and look at that. It gives me back a sample deployment here that I could probably use for a GitOps approach for my future deployments. That's really helpful. Now, this is a development environment, and I would love to get familiar with the OpenShift command line tools, maybe even the kubectl tools. So let's get familiar with that and ask Lightspeed how I can use the OC tool to create 3 copies, replicas running from the command line. So look at that. Yep, it gives me the clear instructions. Um, this is great. I've got a terminal running over behind my screen here. You guys can't see that. So I want to try this out here. So I'm just going to copy the command and then change out the deployment name. And I want to try this out. And again, sorry, you can't see this, but it looks like we may have stumped the OpenAI because guess what? Deployment configs, it turns out, are deprecated. Or it is deprecated in OpenShift 19. So I had to change it to just deployment. So let's let Lightspeed know that deployment configs no longer pertain to OpenShift 4.19. And yep, hey, admitted, like, yeah, you're correct. That's it was deprecated in OpenShift 4.19. That's a good response. And if we hop over to the terminal here, yep, I've got 3 copies running. So that was very helpful. Very, very helpful. Another great thing, just another sample you can ask, like, hey, you can maximize the screen and say, hey, how do I change the route, which is the URL that you would use to access the endpoint here, the app, that's some sample hello world. Yeah, you can full screen that so you can, it's a little bit more readable and not just kind of hidden in the bottom right hand corner. If I hop it over to the OpenAI tool, you can see like my cost, I've had about 32 requests here, only about $1.35. I think that's worth it. So this is really helpful to me. This is again like having another assistant that I can use, and I can limit my costs, of course. So I hope this was helpful to you. If it is, please like and subscribe, and thank you for watching.